Butterfly effect. If any of you know what it is, please raise your hand. Okay, a lot. That's good. In short, it means that the flutter of butterflies' wings in Ohio can cause sandstorms in Texas after 3 days. I don't know much about math and physics, so to put it in another way, butterfly effect explains how small, often unplanned decisions affect an individual's entire life. Or yet, another way. How did I get where I am now? Well, now you can ask me what is now, where I am. Hi, my name is Weronika Wojnarowska. I'm a 19-year-old student from Warsaw, head of marketing at Girls Future Ready Foundation, which I've been involved with for almost 3 years now, student assistant at Ørsted, and today I would like to tell you a little bit about my still ongoing journey from Ohio to Texas. 2 months ago, I returned from my Erasmus exchange. I spent the last 6 months at Roskilde University in Denmark. It is a very nice, small town, about 30 minutes by train from Copenhagen. Even though I already returned, I remember the day I left for my exchange very well. I even remember what I was wearing that day. Sitting on a plane before takeoff, I also published a certain post on my social media accounts. You may be surprised, but at that time I thought I had already experienced my butterfly effect, and that I already arrived in Texas. Nothing could be farther from the truth, but let's start at the beginning, in Ohio. I've always been drawn to social activities. I wanted to get involved with them, but I didn't know how to do it. On my 15th birthday, that changed because I made one small decision. I remember that day very well too, actually. After a meeting with my friends, I went out for a coffee with my dad. It was 2020, so we talked a little bit about coronavirus pandemic, of course, a little bit about fatigue, but also, as it happens with us, about what interesting we had read recently. We started discussing a certain article that had appeared in the Gazeta Wyborcza a few days earlier, describing the well-being of students. It was the first time I heard about the Girls Future Ready Foundation, founded by Zofia Kierner in 2018. My dad then suggested that I should write something similar myself, but from a perspective of a young girl studying on her first year of high school in Warsaw. And that's how, after a few days and many hours spent in front of the laptop, on June 14th, 2020, my first professional text was published, through which I not only met a wonderful organization supporting young women every day, and the first person who helped me develop my journalistic and writing skills, but also, when we are looking at the bigger time perspective, I went to Denmark. Now, I don't think I made it to Texas anymore, and Denmark definitely wasn't my final, but I think I'm on the right track, which was actually shaped through various smaller and larger decisions where most of them were completely unplanned. After publishing my first article, my second approach to social activism was the Zwolnieni z Teorii Olympiad. Probably most of you know what it is. In general, I think it's a very great program and initiative, but in my high school, the participation in it was mandatory, but no one prepared us for it. Me and my classmates were 15, 16 years old, and we had no idea how to carry out a practical social project. Anyway, we decided that we would create a social media profiles where we would talk about the activities of young people in public life. And so, from action to action, from email to email, we managed to conduct an interview with Zofia Kierner. But at that time, I had no idea that in 3 years I would be a part of her foundation, and we would rather not communicate with each other and other team members formally and through email. But yes, in a very nutshell, this is the story of how I joined the Girls Future Ready Foundation. First as an intern, then as a project manager of the History Masterclass program, and now as a head of marketing. GFR not only fulfilled my dreams of social action, traveling to New York, or standing on the red dot of TEDx, where I can tell my story for the second time already, but most importantly, I met wonderful people. I developed confidence and leadership skills. I realized that giving up on regular high school for homeschooling, dance, and business development wasn't my failure, and I had the opportunity to go on exchange to Denmark, which only accelerated my journey through the years to the proverbial Texas. And it all happened because on my 15th birthday, I decided to write an article. You may or may not be surprised, but Erasmus in Denmark wasn't my first choice. I thought about the Netherlands, Croatia, and there was even an option still to go to the UK, which surprised me a lot actually. Anyway, Roskilde University was my last choice, so when I got there, you can expect that I was quite skeptical. But you know what? Even though it was a decision made very quickly, because it was made at the last minute, it was one of the best things I could have ever experienced, and it had big impact on my current life, functioning, and the whole calendar. During my stay on exchange, I met a huge number of incredibly valuable and interesting people from all over the world. From Japan, through European countries and South Africa, to the United States and Canada. Thanks to the semester project, I prepared for writing my bachelor thesis, and above all, my stay in Denmark made a huge impact during an interview for the company where I now work. I have been thinking about starting a job for a long time. I'm very keen on business development because in the future I want to finish my master's degree in management, economics or finance, and then just stay in the world with companies. However, getting into any position these days is quite difficult. Did you know that in large companies, the first resume check is done by bots programmed with keywords? I was surprised at first too, but mostly it stressed me out a lot. Out of, let's say, 100 applications, only 5 or 8 get through to the interviews. I thought that because of my age, I would be rejected right away. But this did not happen because on my resume appeared the name of Danish university to which at first I didn't want to go. And to make everything clear, Ørsted is a Danish company. When I got the call that I got the job, I literally started dancing in my dormitory and my friends told me that the look on my face spoke for itself. And it all happened because even though I didn't get into my first choices, I decided I would go to Roskilde. Without Denmark on my resume and some sort of cultural connection to the company where I now work, it's likely that my application wouldn't even made it past through the first screening. Long story short, everything happens for a reason. And in the future, these various small decisions can make a huge impact on our lives. When I was 15 years old and I was writing my first article, I really didn't think that I would become head of marketing at Yours Future Ready. And when I was writing my Erasmus application, I also didn't think that right after the exchange I would get a job in global modern company and influence the construction of offshore wind farms in Poland, Taiwan, Germany, United States or the UK. That's why I want to encourage you today to make these different decisions and take advantage of all the opportunities you get. I hope that my story will only motivate you to fulfill your dreams and take more actions even if you're not convinced at first. I hope that one day, after traveling through the years and time, you will finally make it to Texas. And always remember this quote by Michelle Obama. Don't ever make decisions based on fear. Make decisions based on hope and possibility. Make decisions based on what should happen, not what shouldn't. Thank you.